Good morning, everybody. It is 39 degrees in Laurel, Delaware. And as usual, I'm just waking up and my mouth is dry. So it's hard to talk. But I wanted to let you know that I was able to sleep in the parking lot very comfortably with my sleeping bag. I'll show you. Actually, this is a very thin, what is this? Fleece sleeping bag that my dad gave me that I threw on top of my usual sleeping bag. This Coleman. Very comfortable at 39 degrees. This is probably the coldest I've ever car camped. I thought it was going to go down to freezing last night. I was kind of hoping that it did to kind of prove out this system of layers. And either I slept in and it was colder last night, or it only got down to 39. It's 7 o'clock. I did sleep in. I don't normally sleep in until after sunrise. But again, it is daylight savings time, so it's the sunrise is sooner. Why am I so close to the camera? Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. I'm just waking up. Oh, my morning breath. Sorry. Anyway, time for another day. I'm going to go on another hike. But first, breakfast and coffee. Speak very quietly because other than kids down at the pier, no one else is awake. There's not a single person outside of their RV. I'll show you around. Oh, it's perfect temperature. So this is the campsite I pulled into. And you can see I have neighbors pretty close, but no one's outside. And I'm right on the end where the pier is. Beautiful spot. But if I look around the entire campground, and the campground's huge. It's like 4 loops. This is just one of them. No one's outside. Except for the kids down at the pier. So yesterday we went on a Bob Trail. Is that what it's called? Bob Trail. But we did the connector trail, or the unnamed multi-use trail. I'm not sure which, because both of them have the symbol for them is these dots, and we were on this trail, and I can't tell which one that is. Anyway. So we were on that trail down to the church. So we went from, here's the campground. We went down along the water and across to the church. So today we're going to do the other side. We're here. No, we're not here. We're here. So today we're going to go across and along the other side and see how far we get. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I did the whole thing one time and it nearly killed me. It must have been, I don't know, 8 miles or something. On the map, it felt more like 15 in real life. I am just not that long of a hiker. I just don't have the stamina. I'm excited to just walk along the trap pond again. There's an interpretive sign along the Bob Trail which talks about how this area of Maryland and Delaware was a cypress swamp, and that the logs, the trees, when they fell over, were buried in bog-like mud, and that these trees were harvested for shingles for homes. And when I guess they cut down the majority of the trees, maybe it was only the trees that were in the bog that were cut for shingles, I don't know. But when they harvested the majority of the bald cypress trees for shingles, and they were then kind of scarce, it left behind peat. It was a peat bog. And so peat, when it dries out, because you have no trees to, I guess, shelter it and keep it moist, it burns. And then there was a big fire where most of this area, I guess, burned down. It's hard to believe because some of these trees they look like old growth to me, but what would I know? I'm not a forester. But some of them are really, not necessarily wide trunks, but very tall. Anyway, that area back there off of the Bob Trail reminded me of a bog, and it looked like it had some trees that had fallen and got sucked under the mud. I don't want to scare them away. This is Raccoon Pond. On the other side of the road so I don't scare them away. This is Wooten Road. Bob Trail ends at Wooten Road, and then it loops around to the other side of the Bob Trail that I did yesterday. But this, oh yeah, I remember this from last time. This is Raccoon Pond, where a lot of geese like to sit on the shores. Among the knees of the bald cypress trees. what it's like to live in that. Is that the nature center? No. No, it must be a private home because it's not on the map as a landmark. What a view. I love how they stick their bottoms in the air while they're diving. Supposed to be trespassing. Okay. This is that house and the view from their yard of the pond. I mean, raccoon in a pond? I don't know. It's warming up. I have to take off my hat and unbutton my jacket. So now that I've done a little exploration, I'm gonna get back on the bob trail. It took me 2 hours to get to this point, which is Raccoon Lake, Raccoon Pond, I forget what it's called, from Pavilion number 1. And Pavilion number 1 sits on the bob trail. So that's where I parked to be able to do this section. The bob trail is not on the water for a lot of this hike. It's a nice wide path, as you can see. I don't know what the green is. That's not the color of the bob trail markers on the posts. There are no blazes that I'm aware of. I haven't seen a blaze ever on any trail here in Trap Pond. I could be wrong. But it's a nice wide path. Bikes can be on it. I think horses can be on it. But it doesn't give you any view of the water. There's a trail off of the bob trail right near Pavilion 1 called the Island Trail, which I took last time. And I believe it's a bunch of figure eights, or at least loops, that you can take that's along the water, and you can see a lot more of the bald cypress from that trail. So I'm going to take that on the way back. It's a gorgeous fall day. It is sunny, but not hot, and it's about 48 degrees right now. So I keep taking my hat off because I get overheated and then taking it off, then putting it back on again. But it's not gloomy or overcast, it's just that there's so many trees that you can't see the sunshine. So it feels a little overcast on the trail. By the time I get back to Pavilion 1, it will be another 2 hours. It's about 9:45 right now. And so it'll be about time for lunch. And so Pavilion 1 is right on the Trap Pond itself and right on the water with a beautiful view of the water. So that's where I plan to have lunch today. Here's more of that boggy footage. Also, someone I was talking to on the trail said that Trap Pond hosts the oldest geocache in Delaware, I believe. I don't think he meant in the United States or in the world, but I think it was placed there in 2018. I looked it up. I tried to get the coordinates. I could get the coordinates, but Google Maps doesn't take you to such a pinpointed GPS coordinate as a geocache, so I wasn't able to find my way to the geocache. Oh well. It's almost like an enchanted forest in here. It's so different looking from anything I've ever seen before. It's kind of eerie, actually. The camera just doesn't do it justice. You just don't pick up the same vibe on camera as you do in person. Seen a couple of people on the trail today, but not many. You know, for there being such a full campsite, I'm really surprised at the very few number of people that I've seen on the trails this morning. Wooden shingles were an important product of the Great Cypress Swamp, an ancient wetland lying across the Delaware and Maryland border. These shingles were used to cover house roofs. Just get a peek now and then. And outside walls. Of the water. But shingling almost died out here, as the once vast forests were cut down for lumber, farming, and heat. Just before the Civil War, trees were found buried beneath the boggy soil, mostly bald cypress and white cedar. They lay where they had fallen, many of them hundreds of years before. Digging them out was hard work, but this hidden forest of logs brought shingling back to life. Yet by 1910, cheaper redwood shingles from the West Coast began to drive the local makers out of business. To compete, the swamp was drained to make it easier to get the logs out. Fires broke out in the drying soil, which was mostly peat. In 1930, Delaware's worst fire burned for 8 months, destroying thousands of acres of trees and logs. After many years, the Great Cypress Swamp is recovering, but the shingler's way of life is gone forever. In 1879, Delaware illustrator and author Howard Pyle visited the shinglers to watch them work. The result was these drawings and a report of what he saw. With long levers of stout saplings, the process was accompanied with many grunts and oaths. The men in their red and blue shirts straining and tugging at the giant log that lay in its long grave-like cavity. At length, it starts at one end with a sucking noise as it leaves its oozy bed, is gradually raised to the surface, and is finally rolled bodily out of its excavation to the fresh air, where it lies like some newly disinterred antediluvian monster, huge, black, and slimy. This trail is a lot of passages like this. Pretty. Okay, so here the trail There's a trail that goes to the right. I think it's just a loop, honestly. I think we're just gonna come back out right down there. But let's take it anyway in case this is Island Trail. I'm pretty sure this is near the youth. Yeah, this is the youth group campsite. That's why it's a loop, because they allow you, normally you couldn't bring your cars on Dog Trail. But they allow you to bring your cars down here because obviously you're packing a lot of beer and a lot of boys. And maybe girls. Oh, there's still someone. I wonder if that's Rita on her bike. Anyway, people are just packing up and leaving this spot when I passed by going the other direction this morning. And now they're gone, so I can check out this group campsite. Let's up the group tables. I smell coffee. I smell coffee. Lots of cases for tents. Really pretty pavilion. And a pier. Someone might be checking out the pier. Let's check it out. And this one's making coffee down there. I don't see anyone. Bizarre. We go down that little waterfront area. But yeah, this is where we heard a lot of noise last night from across. Oh, this is gorgeous. Look at this, guys. I hope the boys that camped here last night appreciated what they had. The bald cypress in the middle of the water. So cool. Still some color to the trees, but pretty muted. There's the cyclist. Let's see if it's Rita. I think it is. And this is the intersection of the youth group camping site that is on the water. I mean, it's all on the water, it's just you can't get down to it. But this is what you can. I love the knees. These knees. They just got character. If there was rustling as I was taking a picture of this tree, it's because my thumb was near the microphone. Sorry about that. Okay, found Island Trail. Bob is straight ahead. Island Trail is to the right. Like I said, it just meanders around, but it's closer to the coastline. And apparently it goes to that group campsite. At least it looks like there's a cut through there. We're gonna go this way. traveling back towards Pavilion 1. So much narrower than the Bob Trail, that's for sure. That's neat looking. Look at these knees. And you can tell this is a bog because you can see the benches sinking into the mud, and they've tried to reinforce it. So the island trail is the one in blue, and you can see it's not on an island. I'm not sure why they call it the island trail other than there's a island in front of it. It is, I just looked at the time and now I can't remember what time it is. It is 10:40 and I've arrived back at Pavilion 1. Let's go find a bathroom and then have lunch at this beautiful trap pond waterfront area. Once again, I didn't push the record button. So on the East Coast, at least in the mid-Atlantic states, I don't see why you couldn't van life full-time or car life full-time. I'm looking for a bathroom while I'm talking. Successfully and easily at very little cost. I have access to bathrooms, showers, water, free water, a beautiful place to be during the day. I just don't know why it's not feasible. Now I'm part-time and not full-time, and maybe it's harder when you go full-time. I don't know. Is this the bathrooms? Let's see.